Hi everyone, my name is Ismail Shrike. I'm an experienced mathematics teacher and a master coach at Smart Minds Science Academy. You probably would have heard the word quadratic formula or almighty formula. So today I'll be proving the formula, quadratic formula or the almighty formula, and as well as explaining the concept of completing the square. So the quadratic formula form has as squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. I have seen questions in WAEC where we are asked to prove this formula, to prove the quadratic formula. Or probably sometimes it might come in the form, make x the subject of the relation. Make x the subject of the relation or subject of formula. So it is very, very simple. The first step, this is a quadratic equation. It has its form as ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. It's a general quadratic equation. And all quadratic equation has this form, where we have the highest power of the unknown to be raised to power 2. This is the second term, and this is the constant term. This is the highest power of the unknown. It is raised to power of 2. So if we simplify this equation, if we simplify this equation, then we should have two values for x, because the highest power of the unknown here is x squared. The unknown is x, rather. The unknown in this quadratic equation is x, and the highest power of the unknown is raised to power of 2. A, b, and c are the coefficients. A is the coefficient of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is the constant term. C is the constant term. So the first step to solving the quadratic formula is to divide all through by the coefficient of x squared. Is to divide all through by the coefficient of x squared. So I'm going to divide all through by a. I'll divide this side also by a. I'll divide this side by a, and also divide this side by a. So I'm going to have x squared plus bx over a plus c over a to be equals to 0. So the next thing is to move this c over a, which does not have x, to this other side. So I'm going to have x squared plus bx over a to be equals to minus c over a. Do not forget, c over a, its sign is positive, and if it crosses this equality bridge, it becomes negative. If it is negative and it crosses this equality bridge, it automatically becomes positive. So it is positive here, and it crosses this bridge, it's going to become what? Negative. So the next step is half and square coefficients of x. Now, this is my x, and the coefficient is what is in its front. B over a is the coefficient of x. So that is the coefficient of x. The coefficient of x squared here is this a, before I divided. So the coefficient of x squared is a. The coefficient of x here is b over a. So the coefficient of x here is b over a. So I want to half and square its coefficient. The coefficient is b over a. If I half it, it means I'm going to divide it by 2. And I'm going to square it. So I have halved this coefficient and I have squared it. So it becomes b over a divided by 2. It is still the same thing as this, which becomes b over a. I'm going to change this to times, and this 2 becomes 1 over 2. 1 over 2, still squared. Which becomes b times 1, b, upon a times 2, 2a, all squared. So I'm going to have b squared over 4a squared. So when I square b, it becomes b squared. When I square 2, it becomes 4. And when I square 8, it becomes a squared. So after halving and squaring, then I'm going to add this term. I'm going to add this term to both sides of this equation. X squared plus bx over a. I'm going to add this term to this side plus b squared over 4a squared, which is equals to minus c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. Take note, I have and squared the coefficient of x here. I got this, and this term I'm going to add to this side as well as this side. Half and square the coefficient of x, add to both sides. Half and square coefficient of x, which is b over a. Then add to both sides. So this is what I did here. So from here, take note, when you halved this equation, you got b over 2a. This b over 2a is going to tell us something about what I want to do here. So from here, this whole equation is the same thing as x plus, when you halve this equation, b over 2a all squared. This whole equation is the same thing as this. So how sure am I that this is the same thing as this? Let's factorize this out. Do not forget, whenever you have x plus b over 2a, this square is telling us that we have to write x plus b over 2a twice. X plus b over 2a. Using the FOIL system, first, outer, next, inner, next, and last. So I'm going to do this first. X times x, I have x squared, f first. Then the outer, x times b 2a plus x times b 2a, I have bx over 2a. Then I will do the inner, these two, b over 2a times x plus bx over 2a as well. B over 2ax, b over 2a times x becomes bx over 2a, just like x and this. And I'm going to do a last part, this and this, b over 2a as well as b over 2a plus b over 2a all squared. So x squared plus bx over 2a plus bx over 2a. I'm going to find the LCM, which is 2a. 2a in 2a, that is 1. 1 times bx, that is bx, plus 2a in 2a, that is 1. 1 times bx, that is bx, plus b squared, that is b squared, all over 2 squared, that is 4, and a squared, that is, which is equals to x squared plus bx, that is 2bx all upon 2a plus b squared over 4a squared. So these two can cancel these two. So I have x squared plus bx over a plus b squared over 4a squared. So you can see that this is the same thing as this. The trick is, if you are able to half and square the coefficient of x, before squaring it, when you half it, just pick the x plus the half value, then take the square. It is automatically going to be the same as what you have here, automatically. So you have this term to be equals to this term. So I can take the LCM of this, which is 4a squared, because a can go in 4a squared. So a in 4a squared, that is 4a. Multiply by this, you have minus 4ac. 4a squared in 4a squared, that is 1, plus b squared. So from here, you can take the square root of this and also take the square root of this. Do not forget, we want to make s out of a relation. And we also want to get what? The quadratic formula. It's the same thing. So this square is going to cancel this square root. So I have x plus b over 2a is equals to, mind you, whenever you take the square of a particular value, you are not sure if it is the positive value or the negative value. So I have to include here because I am not sure. Positive value or a negative value of what? Of minus 4a squared plus b. So I want to write this b squared before my 4ac. So I can say b squared minus 4ac all upon 4a squared. So from here, I can bring this b over 2a to this side. You can say I have only my x. So my x is the same thing as b over 2a. This plus becomes minus because it crosses this equality bridge. Plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac upon square root of 4a squared. So I have my x to be equal. What I did is I shared this root for both, for the numerator as well as the denominator. So I'm going to have minus b over 2a plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all upon the square root of 4a squared. The square root of 4 is 2 and the square root of a squared is 8. They have the same denominator. I can pick one, 2a, then minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. So my x can be minus b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, or minus b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all upon 2a. So my x can be this value with plus or this value with minus. I just share this plus for one and this minus for the second one. So I have successfully solved this quadratic equation, and I made x the subject of the relation. So this formula is regarded as my quadratic equation formula. Yeah, do not forget to like, share, and send your questions if you have any with regards the topic quadratic formula and completing the square method. Solve more questions, practice more questions. Our free class has been postponed till next Saturday, which is slated for 19th of February 2022. There I will be sharing strategies that can help you or your child or ward get grade A1 in mathematics, WAEC, NECO or GCE and score high in JAMB. Thank you.